Well, hello there. My name is sometimes Heather and I play Elder Scrolls Online. Last time I took Cinillia here around Banished Cells 1, and today I'd like to show you what I've done with my Vampire Nightblade build. Let's start with appearances again. A while back there was a skin I liked on sale at the ground store. Despite it being ridiculously expensive, I got it, for I am utterly incapable of resisting Uncle Sheo's butterflies. The Shivering Isles anointment skin gives you purple eyes and stamps your entire body with said butterflies. I gave the skin to Cinillia, for she seems like the type who would truly enjoy the Isles. A madwoman, that is. I've given Cinillia 2 daggers and a destro staff. Let's start with our backup weapons, the daggers. First, we have Degeneration. This deals a set amount of magic damage over 22 seconds while granting you major brutality and major sorcery, which increase weapon and spell damage. As more damage is always a good thing, I use this quite often. Next, I thought I'd go with Siphoning Attacks. Casting this ability causes light and heavy attacks to restore health during the time the ability is active. As the effect ends, some magicka is restored. I'm a bit uncertain about this and haven't even leveled this all the way. Initially I figured I'd cast this before combat and allow it to help keep Cinillia alive, but I thought of something better while filming. Stick around until the end to see what I changed. Then I've gone with Deadly Cloak. I really like this ability. This gives Cinillia a shield of razors that lessens the damage from area attacks. Every 2 seconds, the shield pulsates out, sending shrapnel to fly out at enemies. This deals a set amount of physical damage to all enemies within 5 meters. Next, I wanted to use Manifestation of Terror. This sets a trap at target location. Once it triggers, enemies in the area become terrified and are afflicted with major cowardice, which reduces their weapon and spell damage. This might not be the best ability, but as vampires are a touch fragile, I thought this might help Cinillia keep her health up. Last on this weapon we have Ambush. This allows Cinillia to leap at enemies to deal a set amount of physical damage and to afflict them with minor vulnerability, which increases their damage taken for 10 seconds. Ambush also grants Cinillia Empower and Minor Berserk, which increase the damage done by heavy attacks against monsters and damage done by 5%. I really like this one, partly because it saves you from gathering dozens of lore books to unlock the major skill passive that grants Empower. Our ultimate is naturally the Swarming Scion. This turns you into a monstrous vampire while bats swarm around you, shredding at the flesh of your enemies. Let's see if Cinillia can get rid of all 3 precursors in monster form.
I'm not configured for combat. Touch this at once. I never.
Well, almost. Let's move on to our main weapon, which is a Destruction Staff. First, we have Arterial Burst, which I use as a spammable. This allows Cinillia to bonk an enemy on the head with her staff. Very straightforward. When used when your health is under 50%, Arterial Burst will do more damage and will always be a critical strike. Next, we have Swallow Soul. This deals a set amount of magic damage and heals Cinillia for a fraction of damage done over 10 seconds. This helps Cinillia to stay alive in combat. I like to keep my vampires on stage 4 and, while there, health recovery is gone. Swallow Soul helps with that and also adds to the whole vampire immersion in a delightful way. Then I've gone with Crippling Grasp. This deals first a set amount of magic damage, and then, over the next 20 seconds, a larger amount of damage. Crippling Grasp also immobilizes enemies for a short while, and then reduces their movement speed. Slow enemies are easier to pick off than fast ones, and this works for slowing one down. As my second spammable, I have Storm Pulsar. This blasts nearby enemies with shock damage while afflicting them with minor mangle, which reduces their maximum health. And the more enemies you hit, the more damage you do. I really do love this one and use it often in my builds. Last, we have another way to stay alive. Reaper's Mark marks an enemy and afflicts them with Major Breach, which reduces their physical and spell resistance. When the marked enemy dies, Cinillia heals to full health and gains Major Berserk, which increases damage done for 10 seconds. This is my absolute favorite ability in the Nightblade skill lines, and I feel it works well for vampires. Cinillia's abilities mostly come from Assassination, Siphoning, Destruction Staff, and Vampire skill lines. I would suggest getting all passives from these skill lines, along with Racial passives and Medium armor passives, and also Light armor passives if you choose to go with a combo of both. I have gone with my usual 3 armor sets. Let's start with Weapons and Jewelry. I have stuck with Defiler. This is an overland set that drops from Vardenfell. That means you can either farm it out or purchase pieces from guild vendors for large amounts of gold. Defiler adds to weapon and spell damage and critical chance. With 5 pieces equipped, you summon a Hunger to deal poison damage to enemies when you deal critical damage. I like this set because there is no "you have a chance to summon a Hunger" nonsense. The Hunger just arrives, does its thing, and arrives again after 5 seconds. Very efficient. My next set is a craftable one from the base game. Hunting's Rage can be crafted in Bangarai, Reaper's March, and the Rift. It can be made in any weight. I picked medium, but light with Magicka enchantments might be a better choice for a Magicka-based character. Hunting's Rage adds to maximum stamina, weapon and spell damage, and critical chance. As it doesn't come with a flashy buff, it's a nice universal set that works for many kinds of builds. For our monster set, I've gone to the golden again. The Zan Helm drops from Scalecaller Peak, a DLC dungeon, when you slay the last boss in Veteran. Shoulders can be purchased from undaunted vendors. The Zan set adds to critical chance. With both pieces equipped, a crit-related perk is unlocked. When you deal critical damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a chance to tether an enemy to you with a fiery line. This lingers for 10 seconds, as long as you remain within 8 meters of said enemy. All enemies who touch the tether take a set amount of flame damage and gain the burning status effect. I noted that both Defiler and Zan can trigger from the same critical strike, though I feared they might cancel each other out, so that's nice. Let's take a look at champion points now. I'm probably never going to be good with these, so please don't trust me blindly. In Warfare, my active stars are Master at Arms, Thaumaturge, Wrathful Strikes, and Untamed Aggression. In Fitness, I have Bloody Renewal, Siphoning Spells, Rejuvenation, and Boundless Vitality. In Crafts, I've gone with Fade Away, Treasure Hunter, Homemaker, and Plentiful Harvest. Do pick the craft stars that make playing fun for you. Now, as I started fiddling with Cinillia's build, I thought I might create 2 one-bar builds that can be used independently. The Destro Staff part works pretty good on its own, but the twin daggers require fine-tuning. Let's see what happens if I replace Blade Cloak with Relentless Focus. While slotted on either bar, this causes light and heavy attacks to create a stack of Relentless Focus, which increases weapon and spell damage. When a stack is full, Activating the ability again will fire a spectral arrow at an enemy to deal a large amount of damage and also heal you for a set amount if you happen to be at melee range. This serves as a wonderful kill strike perfect for a vampire. Nightblades have always been a challenge for me. Though I do love the class, finding the right balance of abilities and armor sets for a stage 4 vampire is difficult. I'm not entirely pleased with Cinillia, but she is becoming more and more fun to play with. I especially enjoy the aspect that allows me to choose which weapon I'd like to use on a given day. Instead of having to switch weapons in or before combat, I can just pick one and stick with it through the entire battle. And come next horde, I can choose a different tool. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this kind of setup or one-bar builds in general. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all later. Ta!